Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of I Am Christina DiArcangelo. And I realized I have shot 3 days worth of podcasts over the last week already. It's Wednesday. See, I'm going backwards. And for the past 3 days, I have worn athletic tank tops. So clearly it must be hot in Philadelphia for me to be dressed like this. But anyway, welcome, Kesha Rodgers. I have known you since 2005. Thank you for joining me today.
Oh my goodness, it is such a pleasure to be here.
Man, it's been so long. Before we came on, we were talking about it, 2005. That's such a long time ago. So we met in the Bay Area.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Oh my goodness. Back when I was a baby, I thought I was grown, but I was such a baby.
Didn't we all? We thought, because we were working on a special project. I mean, we worked across, I supported you because I was in outsourcing. So I got to work with a lot of different people in outsourcing, but specifically, we worked on a computer program together. I won't go into like confidential details, obviously, because it is confidential, even though it's been years ago. We don't want to like spill the beans there, the juice. But we worked on this project together alongside each other as colleagues. Yeah. And that was a lot of fun, wasn't it? Like just getting to know each other.
It was, and it made work so much more fun every day, being able to accomplish something. But oh my goodness, the laughs that we shared.
Okay,
oh goodness.
I have to bring. Yes, I have to bring something up, okay? Because I think you may remember this, and I really hope to God you do, because this was really funny. Because I still talk about this with Farhad.
Oh my God.
And Avril Francisco. I'm still friends with Av.
Oh my goodness. Hugs to both of them.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. I slid into the Bay Area for a brief trip last Thursday, and I saw Farhad, and then I saw Wes Burwell. You probably remember him from HR.
Yes.
Yes. So Wes is still one of my very dear friends. So I saw him after I stayed with Wes, actually, and then we went to Heldsburg, and then I flew back. So I was only home. I was only home in San Francisco until Sunday, and then I came back. Avril now is down in Florida. Such a brilliant, yes, he's in Jacksonville working for a biotech as GC, general counsel.
Thank goodness. It's about, oh my goodness.
He's a doctor. Yes, he's a doctor too. So he's finishing. Yes. He's so brilliant. So
I would have been convinced that he'd be in Europe.
Yes, no, he came back. He came back from Europe, and we worked together again. Last year, it was last year. I think prior, I think it was almost 2 years we worked together for the same client. He brought me in, and I was working in outsourcing as a consultant to help them out because they had some challenges. And so, so the two of us, so Farhad and Av and I, well, three of us, but separately. So I mean, two, because we talked together at a time. We were talking about the time we were in that meeting, and I was presenting something, and I think it was a status update to the project we were working on together. And one of the bosses got up in the meeting when we were sitting at the table and passed gas. And it was Was it loud? Okay, Angelo, my mini doodle was like, "What's going on? Is there a problem?" So no, Ange, it's good. But no, and I remember, and she said, "Excuse me," which she should have just let it go. But because then we wouldn't really have known, but we kind of knew, because when she got up, it blew out of her butt. And it blew out, boy, because all of us were like, "God damn, what did she eat?" And so, but remember, here we are, these young kids, like we're young kids, Av, me, you, we were young kids. And there were some others that I won't mention their names because of, I don't want them to be like, whoa, They didn't authorize for me to say it, So like, remember, and we're trying to like, and I remember I was trying to keep it together because I wasn't done talking. And I was like, holy cow, right? I was like, damn. So I got it together and I did not laugh. And everybody, we all avoided eye contact, because we would have busted up laughing at this lady. But we all did the right thing. Like we didn't make it worse for her. We didn't embarrass her. We can laugh about it now, 15, 17 years later. But, it kind of just shows that even though people have these goofy things that happen, we just accept them. It's really funny, and we just let it roll.
And we
literally.
Let it roll, and it, and it is a fond memory of. Oh my goodness! Oh, I hadn't thought about that in years.
Oh my God. And like every time I would go in her office, I remember because, there was a lot of pressure on us being younger and females, right?
No.
And coming up, and trying to get, make our mark for our excellence. And I remember like going in her office, and we all had offices, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I remember going in her office, and every time I went in her office, it was like a bomb went off, like 911, like, oh my God, there's boxes and papers, and then she would eat in her office, and then it would stink like whatever she ate, the tuna fish sandwich or whatever it was. And it was like, oh my God. Now, people, we're talking about the Bay Area, okay? We're not talking about some haphazard New York area where, we were renting a small shacky place. No, this was the Bay Area, and this lady was living like a pack rat in her office.
Oh my goodness, I remember. And like what you were saying, we were young women, and for both of us in fields, you in contract negotiation and outsourcing, me in technology, there were not very many women.
No. These jobs were always led by men, because they were, that was the acclimate of those individuals that held those positions. And so, I don't know how you felt, but I felt that I had to work harder, stronger, and faster, than some of the others in our space, because I was a female and I was doing a job that could be adversarial at times, because I controlled the money. And so it was a lot of money. I mean, the biggest line item in the budget in pharma in an R&D company is clinical, and the relative groups that support clinical. It's a big money spend. And so here I am, this young kid, controlling this money, and like people get mad, because they just want to spend that money like it's a blank check, just doing their thing. And how about the people that used to drink vodka in the middle of the day, and they pull the drawer out? And here we were like, oh no, because we'd be the first they'd point the fingers to, because we were young kids.
Seriously, and not being taken seriously. And I don't know if you encountered this, but for me, it was, oh yeah, who's the grown up, or where is the man who knows?
And it was remember the smile, like that's why I cocked my head that way, like,
smile, nod,
this, that little, thanks for coming, And it's like, come on, like we were running stuff. Like, honestly, we came up with some very innovative things. And then Kesh, through your career, like I've been watching you, even though, we're not on the same coast anymore. I've been watching. And also I have to mention, before we get into your career, because I have something, I want to say, you have been such a support to my nonprofit, Affinity Patient Advocacy, over the years since I launched it in 15. Not only that support to the company, but you were very supportive to me and have always been. Like, I know that if I had to call you and talk to you about something, because everybody knew my pop, because he used to come out and visit, and meet a lot of people, because he loved meeting people, and especially people I worked with, because I didn't have any family out there. And so I just wanted to thank you for doing that for me over the years, and continuing to do that for me over the years.
Always. It's important. The work that you're doing is so important. And I know if anybody can and will do this, it's you. And so it's our pleasure and our joy to support.
Well, thank you so much. So this isn't about CD. This is about you. Let's talk about what you've been doing. Let's talk about the boys, your two boys,
my
and how
goodness,
big.
my two juicy little nuggets, actually not so little anymore, at 8 and 11, and both almost looking like teenagers now. I can't even.
It's amazing to see like them grow, because I'll see your Instagram posts or Facebook and I'm like, oh my God, look at these kids, man. They got so big, because Christian's in between your boys, age wise. Mm-hmm. And so it's really cool. And like, who would have thought that we would have little boy over here? Like,
and for me, children at all. Like back then, I was about having my fun.
Yeah, like having some drinks and just grinding out the work.
Concerts and work. My career was my baby.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. And then I just, kind of found my way, found my way, I guess I would say, full stop, found my way. And with an emphasis on I guess the thing is that, I don't know about you, but I felt like biotech had a current and I fell into the current. And sometimes the current really benefited me. So, I would fall into the promotion path and keep moving forward. And then before I knew it, I was successful on paper, and I had drifted so far away from who I am, what my purpose is, what I'm good at, and what I have to offer the world. And it's just like 17 years. We were just, just before we were talking about what's possible if I had this confidence, self-awareness, and just peace and understanding in what my purpose is 15, 20 years ago.
And patience, because I say this because, I observed you and me in the same way, like we were very like, let's get this stuff done. Let's move. Let's go fast. Like, what are you doing? Why are you so slow? We could have this done. Why are we still meeting for the same topic round and round and round and round? 7 times we'd have a meeting. And the 7th time it was the same answer as the first meeting. So why do we have to talk about the 7 times and waste 2 months when we could have had it done faster? And like for us, we're just trying to move against the timelines, because they always clamped up on us with the timelines, because we were an internal service provider to these groups. So we had a different understanding, so to speak. We had our goals and objectives that were corporate goals and objectives that everybody else had to follow. But then we had our own goals and objectives that rolled up into those goals. So we had more than everybody else.
Yeah, and so many different stakeholders to keep in mind, and no way, people would want to put stakes in the ground on. I guess this is true through many, many projects, and it's probably not unique, but people choose things that they won't budge on, and it just it halts the process, and no one benefits.
Right. This was okay. Let's remind the viewers and listeners, we're talking about pharma and biotech, that we're talking about drug development. We're talking about patient safety and efficacy and developing treatments that could help people every day. And this is all going on. It's like sometimes I think some of them forgot, not us, because we're still very present in this, is that they forgot why we were doing this. What was our purpose? Our purpose is for the people, the patients that are sick. And that is why we're here. It's not about who's driving what Porsche or who's wearing, what Gucci or the latest diamond necklace or whatever it is, or who's getting ahead of so-and-so now, because now they're a CEO of a biotech and they went from a director to a CEO. I don't know how that happens, but you know what I'm talking about.
I do. And it's just, I feel, I've had so many experiences like that. And then also the experience of having, basically learning how to find my people, like you.
A tribe.
And finding the group that's going to help you move forward, because it's really, really important work for both of us. Actually, doing so much work in oncology. I've ventured out into device and into brain disease and in other areas, but but the work is so important, both professionally and personally, for both of us.
That's right.
And so it's so important to find the people who are going to help you move things forward.
That is absolutely right. And also to develop that trust and be vulnerable in the sense that, you might not know everything at that given moment, right? And to be able to say, okay, well, I don't really understand this, or I don't know, or I need to read up on this, or whatever, or can you explain this to me again, kind of thing. I think that's how we learn. A lot of times we work with people who pretend they know.
Okay, I'm having a real moment right now. As a mom, if you'll excuse me for just a moment.
Yes, no problem.
Jason, I'm in a meeting and I will be with you as soon as I'm done. You can ask me something as soon as my meeting's done, honey. It'll be in just a little bit. That's the real folks.
This is great, because you know what? Yesterday, as I choke, sorry. Yesterday, and I see I have a hair sticking up on the screen, like a bullseye. So yesterday I had a guest on my show, and it was one of my board members. Her name is Steely, and she's awesome. Kesha, you would love her. She would remind you of us when we were younger, because she's just starting out in the industry. She's been at like 2 years, and she's amazing. She has purpose, and she is sassy, and she is doing the damn thing. And so we were talking about like how COVID has taught us, the pandemic has taught us that it's okay for disruptions to occur in meetings, and Zooms and such. And so like here, this just happened, right? And well, first off, you're on with me, I'm your friend, so who cares, right? And who cares if we're shooting a podcast? This is reality, this is what who I am as a human, so who cares, right? And so what happened is just what happens now, right? Which is awesome, because back in the day, Keish, we couldn't have this boom, boom, boom on the door.
Oh my goodness. It would be the end of the world. I would be mortified.
And your heart would be like racing, like, oh my gosh. Mm-hmm.
There would be a one-on-one conversation where we talk priorities. And, and I wouldn't be at home. I would be in the office. Oh my goodness.
Yes. So much you're so right, though. So much has changed, because when we were young, man, if we tried to work from home, which was a rarity, and we had laptops and they had every device hooked into us that they could get a hold of us at all times of the day and night, for real, people, like it's for real. Yeah. Remember that? And so like if we worked from home, we had to be able to show, and we had to get more work done.
Then we're working.
That's right, because for all they knew, we were like them, opening up the drawer and drinking our vodka.
Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh, man, how the time has flown.
Man, I mean, and we've grown up, and look at everything we've done. And we are going to do. We're not done yet,
Not even close. It's just starting.
It's just
starting for me. Yeah.
I'm so excited. So tell us, because we've got a couple minutes left, because I'm watching our time. Tell us what you're up to now, the latest and greatest with respect to Kesha.
Okay, so I've made a lot of career transitions. I've been in clinical systems for the majority of my career. Learned a lot about user adoption and change management, and started up a change management office at one of the companies I worked for. And it was around the time, it was not around the time, I was probably 2 years into that work when the pandemic hit. 2020 was a year. And I realized, so I live in the Pacific Northwest. So I moved from, LA to the Bay Area, up here to the Pacific Northwest. And I affectionately refer to myself as the chocolate chip and the snickerdoodle up here in Snohomish. It's just one of those things. There aren't, the Black population is small relative to the rest of the country and Washington in general, and especially up here where I live. But I've got a really strong family. My friends are my family, just like you up here. And when 2020 hit, there were all these when the George Floyd murder video came out, there were so many people who like even strangers would come up to my door and say, "You're my neighbor, and I'm embarrassed I haven't talked to you before. I know it's
Oh,
not your job to do anything about this, but I want to let you know I support." And so I had already started, this was years prior. I'd been involved in diversity at work. Before I knew it, I was the head of diversity at a biotech company. And I had started a side business working to provide ways for motivated allies to find something to do. Because, well, my personality.
yeah.
I'm happy-go-lucky, like just I love having a good time. Joy is my drug.
Your
And
glasses say it all. Like I'm sorry to interrupt, but I almost had to interrupt you when you were talking about where you're currently living, and everything. And one of the things I love about you, and I remember about you, is your fashion sense. No, I remember talking about it, especially since you were from LA. I love that about you because I came in from Philly, North Carolina, then Philly. I had
yeah.
that small jaunt over there, which there was no fashion there. I mean, flip-flops was the fashion. And I was told I wore too much black because everybody's wearing Barbie pink. And listen, my brand has pink and purple in it. I love it, but that doesn't mean I want to wear it every day. But anyway, your fashion. So I was like thinking, and then, I'm sorry. Then you said this, and I was like, I've got to comment on this because I just love that about you. I love that because it's a quirky thing, like your glasses. Like, I love them.
Yeah, I'm like, my personality is going to come out eventually. I might as well wear it. So just so that you know what you're doing, and I'm a handful when you see me. So just be prepared. I'm a handful, a lovable handful, but a handful. And pardon me. So yeah, and I feel like I'm a one-woman party. So I had to find a way to help and support the movement of racial equality and equity and inclusion in the world, but find a lane for me,
Right.
because the work that's happening is critical, but I am not suited to a lot of the work that's out there, but I know I can make a difference. And so it's, what can I help do? I can help close the racial wealth gap. There are thousands of wonderful, creative, and really great Black-owned products out there that
Yeah.
because they don't get reach a wider audience. And so I started putting these things together in boxes, subscription boxes, to help promote Black-owned businesses. And before I knew it, we realized that the customers were primarily businesses who said, I want to send these as client gifts. I want to send these as donor gifts. I want to send these. And it took off. And so earlier this year, I quit my full-time job. I am a recovering ex-corporate employee, and I'm finally following my purpose, which is to to find joyful and effective ways for people to make an impact.
You are free. I'm sorry, I have to interrupt. You are free. When you were going before, I wanted to say that you're free. You've created your own freedom now, and it's hard. It's not easy.
Oh my goodness, it's not easy. It's risky. Doing this at my age with kids still in school who are going to have to go to college. Why would you leave the safety and security of your corporate job to do this? And it's the freedom. I have I've got a poster up here right now, but behind it, I've got the little cards that remind me why I do what I do. Mm-hmm. And the number one in the middle is I operate within my values at all times, even when challenged. And the best way for me to do that is with freedom. I can make decisions. You know what? I appreciate your interest in the product, but what you're doing doesn't align with the values and guiding principles of the company. And so maybe we can find a different way to collaborate.
I love this. My gosh, thank you for sharing this with us because, you know how I am, right? As far as diversity and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And I was looking at our new website that's not launched yet for one of the companies. It wasn't one of the affinities. It's one of the other companies that I'm the CEO for. And the cover picture was Caucasians, elderly Caucasians, and it's a product based company. And I looked at this and I was like, this is not what we want. Like, I don't understand why we're, why would you do that? Because especially the way I hire, I work with Nigerians, I work with Indians, I work with African-American women that are LGBTQ. I seek that for me. because, you know, my son's biracial, as you know, like your kids are, and
Yes.
you know how I identify. I've always said I'm
Mhm.
Sicilian American, Italian American. I'm not just a traditional white person. You look at me and think I'm just a, you know, white lady with blonde hair. You know, I'm not that. You know,
Very
so
Sicilian.
I mean, yeah, like I swear I had my t-shirt on when I flew out of the Bay Area. And when I got into Philly, I was like, oh, people are kind of leaving me alone, because usually, you know, people are just so rude and stuff. Like, but I had my Sicilian, Italian, Sicily on, and it was like, yeah, I looked like, I finally, to people, I looked like a Sicilian. I'm built like a Sicilian. I don't understand why they don't know that about me. And my skin, look at my skin.
Goodness.
It's not like when I tan, you know, Keish. So I love what you're doing because it's so important, and you understand. You've seen it firsthand, and you've decided, like, okay, listen, I'm gonna step out on a ledge here and do this, right? But I'm gonna do this because I believe in this, and I want to do this.
I do. Not only does it help to close the racial wealth gap, but the thing is, it's this freedom, this thing I would not be doing if I didn't take the risk to leave the security of the corporate world. And the thing is, it's not just helping me, it's helping other businesses. And how many other solutions to real problems we have in this world could be had if we were free to make the decisions, to be creative, to spend the time that it takes to follow our purpose.
Absolutely. And look what you are showing your children. You know, this is awesome that they see this, you know, like for Krish, he's used to this with me, like, you know, because he only knows that because when he was born, I was already working for myself. And I had the CRO and the wellness spa at the time. And then when dad died, I opened up the nonprofit. Christian was 3.5 at the time. So Krish has seen me now, like, you know, he's seen me open up that company and then multiple companies behind it, the bots and everything else in the AI space. And now your kids are going to see that about you, and they're going to see that bravery. So when they're at school and they're worrying about something, you know, that's going on, they can remember what you showed them, Keish, which was you stand in your truth and go ahead and conquer.
Yeah. And, you know, you stand up for what you believe in. I had my 11-year-old, actually already, you asked him what he wants to be when he grows up, and he says an entrepreneur. I want to create my own thing and be my own boss, like my mom.
I love that.
It's just,
I love that. Well, Keish, thanks so much for being on today. I really appreciated catching up with you. It's been a long time, so we've got to do better at that.
Going next time I'm East Coast, I'm hollering at my girl.
Yes, please. And the next time I come back over there, because I'm going to be visiting one of my team members that's over there where you are, that works across all the, you know, spectral AVMs. So I'm going to try to go visit her sometime this year, like in the fall. So I'll let you know, and I'm going to bring Krish, obviously. So that would be awesome for the kids to have a play date. You know, we just had to travel on a plane. Well, that's no big deal. But thank you so much for being on today, seriously. And thank you for everything you do as a human, and how you constantly lead with your head and heart while you're working. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you too. Thanks so much for having me, and we'll talk soon.
Yes, absolutely. So with that, remember, as we always say, we are the same. I am Christina DiArcangelo. Thank you